What is going on, everybody? Some cars in the distance revving up their engines and stuff. I was thinking about something today, and I actually couldn't wait to make a video about it. Um, there was a. I wanted to talk about how important your father figure in your life is. Cause, sorry, some asshole's putting his engine across the fucking street like everybody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear how shitty your engine is, you know. Anyways, I'll put it like this. Little boys need some type of mental anchor, you know, to help them remain calm in situations. That's how they become men. Because men in situations do not become startled and scared unless they don't have an anchor, which most men have, because most men had fathers. Some men don't have fathers. Or they had father figures who didn't instill that in them. And it has a lot to do with discipline. Like, my father disciplined me. He spanked me, he shouted at me, you know, he let me know when he was getting angry, you know. He reprimanded me. You know, he reinforced good behavior. He punished things that were flawed and wrong with me. So I have an anchor of what I need to be. You know, the imagery, the visual of my father. You know, he was a dude that was a typical guy. You know, listened to rock music, you know, drove a muscle car or a truck, and, you know, had a beard and wore his shades when he didn't need to wear his shades. And he was a cool, calm, collected guy with a bit of a temper, which is what most guys are. And so that's kind of what I am. And I have some of his flaws and stuff, but I have a bit of an anchor to where when I'm in stressful situations, I visualize that. That's what a man is. That's what I'm going to be. Some guys don't have that. Like, if your father never disciplines you, he lets your mother take care of everything. He never teaches you anything like hard. You know, he lets you go by life in an easy way. He makes things easier for you. Well, years later, when you end up in that stressful situation, you have no anchor. You have no one to look to say, I need to be calm. I need to be reinforced in my behavior. You just go crazy. You just as stressed out as everybody else is, and you cannot lead because you did not have an anchor. Now, women are different because women need a physical person there most of the time to let them know that they got them, that they can hold them down, you know. Men don't need that. Men need themselves. They can rely on themselves. They're more independent because they have an anchor mentally. Women need a physical person as an anchor, which is what little boys need too. But you're meant to keep that anchor inside as you go through life. So if you don't have a strong father figure, you lose that anchor. You don't have it, you know. Like, for instance, when I was younger, I would get stressed out by things because I would get too paranoid, and I would think about things that maybe weren't really a big deal, and I'd make them into big deals, and I would get scared, and I would get freaked out and nervous, and I'd have panic attacks, okay? Almost panic attacks, not necessarily like panic attacks, but I get really nervous and stressed out about things. And I would get angry really quick, and I would kind of lose my temper really quick because the anchor that I have is a bit loose because my father was in my life till I was about 4.5, and my mom kicked him out of the house. And he visited me, and, you know, he bought me things, and he watched movies with me and worked out with me and stuff, and we went to the pool and swam and stuff. But I didn't see him that often. You know, we had a little thing going on where I would see him sometimes, once in a while, and it was a bit of a scheduled thing. But then I'd go a long time without seeing him after that for a while. And then I'd see him again, kind of schedulely, and then I wouldn't see him again for a while. Okay? So he wasn't too much of a big presence in my life. And I was kind of shy around him. I was kind of scared to open up to him. I was intimidated by my dad, you know. And I regret that because I wish I would have opened up to him more. But I was intimidated by him. He was kind of scary to me because he was a big, staggering kind of manly figure. He was, you know, well above 6 feet tall and, you know, was big and muscular, and it was kind of scary. And my stepdad was just somebody. My stepdad came into my life when I was still 4.5. My mom dated a number of different guys, and then she got with my stepdad, whose name is, well, I won't say his name, but he was in my life for a while. He was in my life till I was, I don't know, 13, you know, maybe. And he was a father figure to me, but I didn't see him as a father figure, you know. There was moments where he carried me through and took care of me, where I was like, yeah, I'm depending on him. I know I'm depending on him. And he took good care of me, and he taught me certain things. But I was such a strong-willed child that I couldn't even notice authority if I was looking at it. I wouldn't notice it as authority. I would just notice it as something that I could make a joke out of. Oh, I'm not going to listen to you, and I'd make fun of him. I would say horrible things to him. You know, and I would just call him by his name, and I would just make fun of him sometimes as I got older. Because he would say things to me about me, and he would get me mad. So we would just have this back and forth, and I would say horrible things. And that's probably where I got a lot of my mouth from, is just learning, just concocting bad things to say to my stepdad, to be honest. And so he wasn't an anchor for me as I got older, because I was so strong-willed, and I was just so focused on what I wanted to do. I didn't care about a father figure at all. But he was a strong father figure as a person. Personally, he was a strong guy, you know. So some of it's my fault, and I can accept that, you know. But he spanked me too, and he disciplined me also. So he did incorporate a part of my anchor, you know. My point is, with all this storytelling, is I have an anchor because I had father figures who instilled discipline in me. So I could look back on that and realize the sternness and the focus of that, and become that as a man myself in stressful situations where I can take charge and lead and not be a pussy, a bitch. Because there's a lot of young guys right now who don't have father figures, and they have anxiety problems. They get really stressed out. They get really freaked out. And I used to too, also, but I don't now. You look at things differently. There could be a guy that's right next to me, and we could be looking at the same thing. But because I have an anchor, and he doesn't have an anchor, I could be really excited about what I'm looking at. I could see the potential in it. And he could be really scared by it and see the dread in it. And we're looking at the exact same thing. But see, because I have an anchor, I know I got something to hold me down when I walk into certain situations. So there's never really anything that gets me too down or too up. I'm kind of straight and narrow. Whereas a guy who's next to me going through the same things I am, if he doesn't have an anchor, he's going to go too high, he's going to go too low, and he's going to screw himself up. He's going to do the wrong things. So it's important to have a strong father figure. Not just a father figure, but a strong one. If you got a dad who never disciplines you, and he doesn't take charge, and he never tries to teach you any like life lessons the hard way. He doesn't instill anything in you that are like strong messages. You're not going to have an anchor. You know, you're going to have an anchor, but it's going to be really small. He's not going to hold you down. You know, a manly man is not somebody who is freaked out and going crazy and wacky and, you know, that's not a real man. That's somebody who's going to mess you up in life, because you're going to think that you need to be that, and you're not going to have any grounding, you know. And that's really what it is. And I know some kids are so entitled, even though no one taught them to be that way. And they're so entitled to where their father tries to teach them these things and does discipline them, but they're just so strong-willed and so entitled that they can't be taught anything. And that's not the father's fault. That's the kid's fault, to be honest. But that's really all I gotta say is, you know, I hope I put it in an adequate enough way to where you can understand what I'm trying to say about this whole thing. I said it plain as day, and I meant what I said about having a disciplinarian as a father. If you're going to be a father, you need to be a disciplinarian. You need to discipline your kids. And it can't all be the different things that work for different kids. Like, my father spanked me. My mom used to hit me with stuff. My dad yelled at me. My mom yelled at me. My stepdad yelled at me. My other family members yelled at me. They would say things. They would try to reinforce me in ways that I thought were kind of negative. And it would put my whole mood. Sometimes it would just mess up my whole mood, you know. But later on, I have something to grab onto and kind of to hold myself down to where I don't go crazy, you know. And if you're going through things in life that are maybe too straight and narrow and too quiet, that's what your mother's for. Imagination, creativity. Your mother is supposed to instill that in you. So that's why you need a mother and a father. It doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl. You need both. If you're a girl, you need a mother and a father. And if you're a boy, you need a father and a mother. And if you're a boy, you probably really need a mother to help balance you out and a father to teach you who to be. So if you don't have a father, you're not going to know who to be. And your mother's not going to help you. If you don't have a mother, you're not going to be balanced out, you know? And same thing with girls. If a girl doesn't have a father, she's just going to look for her father in every guy that she dates. Or if she has a really bad father, she's either going to look for the opposite of her father or someone who is just like her father. And either one could be bad. And she might do both. And might not even know it. And if she doesn't have a mother, a girl without a mother, that's hardcore. That sucks. I mean, you gotta have both parents. And so that's why it pisses me off when I see these cowards having sex with women, making a kid, and then just running off. Now, if things don't work out and you're young and you got your whole life ahead of you, I understand if maybe you don't want to be in that house all the time because you got, maybe you're in your 20s. But there's cause and effect. There's responsibility. There's accountability. And I know that there's all kinds of situations that can happen, but at least visit your child and make sure that they have what they need. As long as you do that, you're okay in my book. But don't just run off like you don't got a kid, That's the type of stuff that pisses me off, But I just don't like cowards, But anyways, that's all I gotta say. And I'll be back. And thank you for watching my video. Yeah.